Hello and welcome to our regular community team Q&A, the Ubuntu community team. I'm here with David Pinolella. Hello, David. And we do this every week. You'll find us at ubuntuonair.com. You can also find us on YouTube if you go to the Ubuntu On Air YouTube channel. If you want to find out when these are going to happen, we don't do them always at this time, 1500 UTC on Tuesday. We sometimes have other sessions on other days. So if you want to find out when those are going to be, the best thing to do is follow the subscribe to the YouTube channel and also follow the Google Plus and Twitter Ubuntu On Air feeds as well. But this week we've got a Q&A. If you have any questions, the best place to do that while the video is running is to go to the IRC channel #Ubuntu-on-air on Freenode. If you're watching on ubuntuonair.com, then just scroll down a little bit. There's a little IRC chat box at the bottom, and you can mash your keyboard there and type your questions in. If you prefix your question with the word question, then it highlights in our IRC windows, and we can see them easily. I must apologize if you hear loud noise. It's here. It's because there's an airport about a mile that way, and they have a big trade show every year, and they do displays of all the aircraft. So if you hear very loud, very large aircraft noise, that's because there's very loud, very large aircraft nearby. That's why. So get your questions in, prefix them with questions in the IRC channel, and we'll get to them as soon as we can. Don't leave it till the last minute, because if you do, then we might run out of time and not get to your question. So put your questions in as soon as you can. Before we dive into the questions, I think David had an update, and I will mute my microphone while this airplane goes over.
All right, thanks, Poppy. Okay, I'm all right. I just wanted to talk about something that I'm very excited about, and I think everyone who's been involved in preparing this as well. You might have seen an announcement that we published yesterday about something that we're preparing in 2 weeks' time in Heidelberg in Germany. So you've all heard about Snappy, Snaps, and any related technologies. And this is the new way of packaging and distributing apps for Ubuntu and many other Linux distributions. We've got an engineering team at Canonical who would really like to work with some people from other distributions upstream or any open source projects that might be interested in either adopting or moving forward Snap related technologies. And this engineering team is meeting, I think it's every 6 weeks actually, for a week to work very, very closely face-to-face on developing the roadmap, working together on implementing features, and such as Debian, Fedora, Gentoo, and Arch. We very much keep working with those distributions and with developers and users of those distributions to make sure that the experience there is as good as in Ubuntu, and that we're truly pushing forward something that's a distro agnostic technology. With that in mind, we've opened the sprint for community participation. So what you saw yesterday on the developer blog, on developer.ubuntu.com/blog, the latest post, which I'm gonna copy over to IRC in a minute, was a call for participation to join that sprint. To be clear, a sprint is not just an open source conference where you just sit there as part of the audience. It's the way of participating in the sprint is more on the sense of doing active contributions, as in taking part of the discussions, having or making or helping make opinionated decisions, and where it applies, also take work items. work items might be as in implementing something in particular, or writing an article about your experience at the sprint, or what do you think of Snappy technologies, where you think we could help in making them truly cross-distro, and so on. We have limited capacity, which is why we're reviewing the applications. On that announcement, you will find a submission form as an invite to apply for participation. And we can sponsor a limited number of community attendees as well, should they need it, with full covering full cost of travel and accommodation for that week. So if that sounds interesting to you, if you're willing to essentially work with the Snappy team on making Snap the technology of choice for any distribution, and make it a pleasure for users to install the latest snaps without having to wait for the next release of Ubuntu, Fedora, Debian, or whichever distro it is, then do head to that URL that Poppy just pasted on IRC. You'll find all of the information, and you'll find a very prominent link to the form for participation. So I say, if you're interested, either if you need sponsorship or not, do apply if that sounds like something that you'd like to do.
Awesome. A couple of other updates. Also worth mentioning, I think you're going to be there in Heidelberg, aren't you?
Oh, yes, and I think you're going to be there too.
Yes, I am. Yes,
right.
I'm sorry. Yeah, you'll have to put up with myself and David there as well, and some other friends from the community too. Should we have a look at a couple of other updates while the questions come in?
Yes, and I think you are the source of some of those updates, I hear.
So a couple of them. One of them, I posted a video yesterday, which I've titled "Let's Play Snapcraft." It's kind of a play on the whole "Let's Play Minecraft" kind of video series that people keep doing. The idea was to show people how to use Snapcraft to create snaps of applications. You'll find it linked somewhere, I'm sure. David will post a link, but my YouTube channel is PopeyDC, and you'll find the video there. I made the mistake of calling it "Let's Play Snapcraft #1", which kind of implies that there's going to be more of them. So I will have to create some more of those. So if you have any suggestions for things that you think would be good for us to create snap packages of, especially those things that don't already have snap packages, I think especially interesting to me are things that are fast moving, things that are under active development. You know, finding some decades old application that's no longer in the archive might be, you know, of academic interest, but if it's not something that people actually want on their system, then maybe of less interest to many people. But yeah, so leave a comment or PM me on IRC, or I'm on Telegram or wherever. Let me know if there's anything in particular that you'd like to see snapified. I think the first few I want to make relatively simple, like the one I did of yesterday was of OpenTTD, which is a re-implementation of a game called Transport Tycoon Deluxe. It was only 20 minutes long, and it was a pretty straightforward video and a pretty straightforward snap to create that wasn't too complex. So I kind of want to build up to the really complicated ones, if possible. So don't throw me under the bus with something like massively complicated on #2. But we'll see. I have a couple of things in the pipeline. So yeah, have a look at that. It should let you know a bit about Snapcraft. Apologies for the low volume on the audio, but yeah, turn it up. I don't shout too much or anything. And the other thing I wanted to mention is we also landed fingerprint reader support on the Meizu Pro 5, so you can now unlock your phone with fingers, noses, toes. Mike Sheldon showed that you can unlock it with your toe if your hands are full. Maybe you want to do that. So that's good. Any other updates related to playpen stuff we want to mention?
I'd make a call out for Zach Casey, who's been on fire this week. Essentially, I think it was 3 snaps that we got on the store from Zach.
Electrum, which is a Bitcoin wallet, and Light IDE, which is a Go IDE. I think he's put them in the store.
Yes, they are. They are all in the. They're all in the store, and I hear that he's got some other ones in the works as well. So essentially, Zach is one of the first people to take literally the snap a day motto, which is very good. And they're also really good snaps as well. I've been enjoying using them as well, particularly Light ID, which I quite honestly didn't know about before we got it in the store.
I've never heard of it either. It's new to me.
So it's really good to wake up every morning with new fresh apps on the store. That's really cool.
Sweet.
All right, shall we start with the questions then?
Yes, let's do that. So if we scroll back to the start, the first question is from Nick011. The 11th of the Nicks. He asks, can I run Android apps on my OnePlus One running Ubuntu Touch? If no, is there any plan for supporting Android apps? Ooh, that's a good question. So you could, at the moment, we have no mechanism in Ubuntu Touch for you to be able to install and run existing Android apps. That's just like, no, it's not possible right now. It may be possible in the future. I honestly don't know of any plans of us internally doing anything. I don't know if we're in any talks with any companies that provide such integration platforms. I know there are ones that exist on other platforms such as Sailfish, and I know the BlackBerry, remember them? There was a method to run Android apps on BlackBerry. I don't know if we're talking to those people. That would be interesting, I'm sure. And we've talked about this before. You know, it's kind of I'm in a mixed mind about whether this is a good thing or a bad thing. You know, on one side, there's some core Android apps that you could like bring to the platform that would allay the fears of, oh, there's no apps, or my specific app that I want isn't there, or whatever. But the flip side is, as soon as you start supporting every Android app, then the motivation for people to create native apps with a native look and feel drops dramatically, because, you know, why should I bother when I can just bring my Android app over with like near zero effort on my part? So I'm conflicted about that. It's possible in the future that someone may create a snap that contains all the necessary bits. I think that would probably be more likely, is that someone creates a snap when the phone has moved to snaps, if the phone moves to snaps at some point soon. Someone could create a thing that contains maybe the Dalvik or Art runtime and all the class libraries and all that kind of stuff to make it work. I don't know. But yeah, the short answer is no, not right now. The long answer is no.
Alrighty, what do we have next?
Next question is also from Nick, who asks, do you know what the big Uberports update that Mario teased about on G+? Well, Mario Grip is in the IRC channel, so we could ask him directly.
I was going to say, so actually, Mario, perhaps you can join us or answer it on IRC. Let us know if you want to join us and share some exciting news for Uberports.
Cool. Next question is from Chloe Wolfie Girl, who asks, do you miss Woolworths? That's a bizarre question. Do you have a store called Woolworths in mainland Europe?
No, I don't think we do. I mean, I know it from the UK, but
so I often remember it from many years ago, going in there because they had a counter where you could get pick and mix sweets. and you buy a bag and you just shovel loads and loads of sweets into the bag, and then you weigh the bag and stuff your face with sweets on the way home. But other than that, I don't think I ever bought anything in Woolies. So yeah, it was called Woolies over here. I think it still exists in Australia. I'm sure someone will correct me and tell me that's not true, but I'm pretty sure there's still a Woolies in Australia. Okay, next question. Chloe asks, are there any HUD updates? David, are there any HUD updates?
Nicely handled back to me. We don't have any updates since next week. I know that Michael Hall, as he promised, has been trying to get hold of Thomas Voss for him to participate on the Q&A. We don't have any date to share yet, but we're hoping that he can give us some more authoritative answer on this very soon.
Groovy. Next question. Wow, this is another strange one from Chloe. What's your favorite British thing that isn't around anymore? I wonder if this is related to yesterday being the 4th of July and them not drinking tea anymore or using knives and forks properly anymore. I don't know. I'll have a think. British things that aren't around anymore. Membership of the European Union. There you go. That's my British thing that isn't around anymore. There you go.
All right. Next question also from Chloe. What app do you want to see converged? Well, I think I'm just going to pick one that comes straight into my mind, and that's Terminal. However, it's a bit of a tricky answer as well, because Terminal actually can make it work very nicely on, actually I'm using it on my computer right now, the Terminal app from the phone. But I'd like to see things like tabs that are more desktop friendly on the Terminal itself. That would make me switch completely to the phone Terminal. I'm using both actually right now. I've got both on my launch pinned to my launcher, and I switch between them.
So on that subject, we have some designs from the design team for a desktop-centric terminal, and what we don't have is anyone available to work on those right now.
Right.
So if anyone in the community would like to modify the existing terminal so that it's more desktop-centric, change the UI a little bit, we've got some designs. It will need some QML skills, and if you want to get involved, then get in contact with me and I can point you in the right direction.
Cool. Yeah, one of the reasons I'm mentioning it as well, it's because one of the most useful apps when you're testing Unity 8 on your desktop. If you get stuck somewhere, you can do debugging, or you can install things through the command line if the UI is not responsive. Well, assuming that then the app is not frozen as well. But in any case, you get the picture. I think it's quite useful to work. I'm using it on Unity 7, but it works also on Unity 8.
Yeah, I think it's one of those things that is, it was always going to be something that we didn't ship on retail devices, but a significant portion of our user base, enthusiast Linux users, are going to want on their device. And it's going to be something we absolutely need on Unity 8. So yeah, we need to find some more people to help work on that. That would be awesome. Mario Grip asks, what's the weather like in Norway? I think he's asking me that because of the Mycroft thing. And I can tell him that the weather in Norway is 18 degrees and partly cloudy. Apparently, according to my weather app on my phone, it's partly cloudy in Norway. There you go. That's as good as I can do. Next question from Chloe. What apps or kinds of apps do you want to see snapped? Ooh, you go first, and then I'll do one.
Oh, I'll do the selfish. I'll do the selfish plug for starters. So a while ago, when we started the App Developer Story, way back in time when we didn't have phones, well, phones with Ubuntu, I developed an app called Creator, which is a QR code generator that's been quite handy for me when I want to share my Wi-Fi password with friends as a QR code when they're coming to visit. I noticed that on 1604 it didn't work because of some package. It depends on having a bug that has been fixed upstream but not been shipped in Ubuntu yet. So one of the things that I've been trying to do today on the Playpen is to get Creator available as Snap, and essentially to be able for me to use it without using any PPA. So I'd like to see Creator in there.
Okay, I would like. Actually, I'll post a link. I have under my desk down here. I have a Netgear ReadyNAS, and it's one of these little things that you just shove a bunch of disks in, and it shares them out over the network so that you can, back up your stuff or store all your music and all that kind of stuff. But it also has an app store. So there's a few apps in the ReadyNAS App Store which I thought would be interesting to run on maybe a Raspberry Pi running Ubuntu with snaps, or on my 1604 home server. I quite like the idea of running some of these apps as snaps. So for example, there's one example is transmission. I'd really like there to be a snap of transmission, the torrent client, so that I can just spin up a torrent client whenever I want one, just snap install transmission, and boom, I've got a torrent client on that machine, point my browser at it and feed it torrents, and it download them, and then if I want to, I could just remove it afterwards and it's all gone away and everything's cleaned up. So yeah, transmission and any of the other kind of apps that you would normally see, like server side. So I'm thinking less desktop-y GUI apps and more server side, that kind of stuff. I'd like to see more of those. So we've already got a Nextcloud Snap, but I'd like to see more, other network appliance server side type of stuff. Next question is from Mario Grip, who says, any chance of a fully open source, except radio due to laws, Ubuntu Touch phone? It's a good question, and it reminds me of you could ask the same question of any chance of a fully free software Sailfish phone or Tizen phone or Android phone. In fact, it's a bit trickier to ask of a fully free software Apple device or Microsoft device. I think we could just say that's not going to happen. But for all the others that are based on Linux, it's not unreasonable to say, would there be a prospect of an open source device based on that platform? And I'm reminded of a talk that I went to at FOSDEM in Brussels nearly 2 years ago now, where there was a guy giving a talk about a project which I've forgotten the name of now. It's a project to make a fully free software version of Android. So, you can strip out all the Google apps from an Android install. You can strip out all the non-free bits, but the more you strip out, the less functional it becomes. It begins with R, and I can't remember the name of it. Anyway, the amount of effort that this guy was having to go through in order to rip out the non-free stuff just to get a working device. And even then, it was very limited. There was very little you could do with it. You couldn't access the drivers. I think for the moment, we're going to be in that position, even with Ubuntu Touch. Everything that we make that's on the phone is open source. Majority of it is GPL3. Unfortunately, some of that stuff we don't control. The bits that we pull in from upstream, like the binary blobs for the radios and GPS and all that kind of stuff, is somewhat out of our control. And we're too small to be able to influence those companies to say, we can't go to Qualcomm and MediaTek and all these other SoC manufacturers and say, hey, we're not shipping a phone unless you open source all your drivers. They'd be, who are you to us? So, it's one of those things that I think probably will come, but just not yet. What's the next question? Chloe asks, will Ubuntu phone be snappy when Ubuntu on phones will get snapped? You know the answer to this one?
Yes, I'm just trying to look at the. Sorry. Yes, soon, very soon. No, just to be quite clear, I think I mentioned it on the previous Q&A. We're actively looking at ways of snapping the phone, meaning being able to install apps on any Ubuntu phone. I'm thinking that it will still take a few months. Don't quote me on this, but just to give you a rough idea, because there are still some things that we need to solve, such as snaps right now. We can have big snaps on the desktop, but on the phone you have to have considerations such as space on the device, such as bandwidth, and these are things that we need to solve before moving to the phone proper. So we are looking at migration strategies as well, because we don't just want customers who have bought phones from BQ, Meizu, and so on to get their phones migrated to Snaps. Well, we do want that, but we want that the experience of doing that migration is something that's very smooth as well. So yeah, I hope that gives you some clarity into the question. I'm hoping that we will have something to share soon as well, but I think the summary is that we're actively working on this.
Yeah, you can think of it being like, if you've installed Ubuntu, 32-bit Ubuntu, like i386 ISO on your laptop, and you want to migrate to the 64-bit version of Ubuntu, it's basically a reinstall, and moving from the current image that's based around clicks to moving to a new image that's based around snaps is that kind of significant change that we have to be careful of. And it's not like users will be booting off a USB key to test all of this stuff on their phone. It's something we need to be super careful about. So yeah, that's part of the reason why it's not happened just yet. Is it needs a lot of planning. Next question from KZ650 Is Canonical planning to work with major software vendors, or are they already, to provide mainstream apps, e.g. Firefox, etc., on Ubuntu Touch? So the short answer is yes. We do have conversations all the time with other companies. Some of them are interested. Some of them have worked on making clicks or snaps of applications. Some of them have teams who work on it a little bit of their time. Some of them are not ready to commit yet, and so holding back until maybe we have more market share, or maybe a significant number of other ISVs have jumped over as well. So they're all in different stages, really. It's not like there's one answer for all of them. They're all a little bit different, really. But we do have people who are talking to those third parties in order to bring more apps to the platform. Yes. Next question, also from KZ650. Whereas games can be ported with Unity, does Canonical plan to provide a means to port other OS's apps to Ubuntu Touch? So, yeah, that's a bit tricky. I mean, we've looked at things like tools that can be used to port HTML5 apps across from other platforms. So using things like PhoneGap, Cordova, in order to bring apps. There's a lot of apps on other platforms that are made using Cordova, and so bringing those across to Ubuntu could be a lot more straightforward than bringing a stock Android app or a stock iOS app across to Ubuntu Touch. I don't know. I think part of it is making our documentation really crisp and really easy for developers, and making our SDK a pleasure to use. I think making those two things really great, is what developers really need. You know, and encouragement and help, and developers on, you know, on the team who can help them port their apps across. Yeah. Looking for next question. Dragonbite asks, has anyone started snaps for wine running games? So the wine configurations are preset, so the user doesn't have to configure things by themselves to get it working. Yeah, me. I've been looking at packaging wine as a snap, and there's a little bit of a problem at the moment. So I've got it working, and you can package up wine in a snap, and then obviously you could put some config in there, and you could call that, you know, the Counter-Strike Go like snap or whatever, you know, game, and then, you know, you put the CD in for the game, or you point it at your Steam directory or whatever, and it work. But the problem we have at the moment, which I don't think will be easily fixed, is that right now there's it's not possible to run the 32-bit version of Wine on a 64-bit machine as a 64-bit snap. It's possible to run the 64-bit version of Wine inside a 64-bit snap on a 64-bit machine, but I haven't tested that yet. I mean, it does work, but I haven't tested that with many applications, because I don't know of many 64-bit Windows applications that I could test it with. So if you have any suggestions for things I could test the 64-bit version of Wine as a snap, that would be interesting to me. So yeah, I would welcome feedback on that. But I don't know an easy way around that, because there's a kernel level thing that we can't fix. I can't remember the name of it, but the last time I had a conversation with our kernel guys, they said, yep, that's basically not going to be fixed anytime soon. So I'm not sure of a good way around that. Next question. Chloe, have you seen the new Deco look with convergence? It was posted on OMG, Ubuntu, and Google+. Oh, was it? Oh, good. I saw it on Google+. Yeah, Dan Chapman has been working hard. We haven't put a new version of Deco in the store for a little while. For those who don't know, Deco is the email client that ships on Ubuntu phone. And Dan Chapman's been working very hard to make a fully converged version of Deco, so that when you've got it on your phone and you plug it into a display, it turns into a desktop mode with multi-pane view, like you get in Thunderbird or other mail clients, but it looks much nicer. It's almost ready for testing and being uploaded to the store. So yeah, it was nice to see Dan post some screenshots of what it looks like. Yeah, I have seen that. I didn't realize OMG Ubuntu had posted a story about it, so that's good to see as well. So it's good to hype up the Ubuntu apps. Chloe asked, how usable will Unity 8 be on Ubuntu 16.10? That's a good question. I haven't used Unity 8 on the desktop much recently. I know David has a little while ago. I don't know whether you plan to upgrade to 16.10 and what your experience of Unity 8 in 16.04 is, but you know, obviously in 16.10 it will be better, because you know it's got a higher version number and everything. So
yeah, what I would recommend as well is to give it a go actually on 16.04. You might have seen Mike Hall's experience with or first-hand experience using Unity 8 on his blog post. And recently, last week, he managed to, or his internet managed to explode essentially, and he was using a convergent desktop as convergent desktop through his phone, essentially with Unity 8, that gives you a similar experience that's on the desktop itself. But what you should be checking out as well is Stephen Webb. Stephen Webb, thank you, Poppy. Bregma on IRC. Blog post yesterday about essentially dogfooding or getting started with installing Unity on your desktop. So I'd recommend to test it as to be clear, as an alternative session at the moment, but it's really worth giving it a go.
Awesome. What's next? Dragonbite, any work being done on a Siri or Cortana-like verbal assistant for the phone or desktop? Not by us. We're not working on such a thing, but you might want to have a look at Mycroft. If you go to mycroft.ai, I think is the URL. They are working on a device called Mycroft, but it also comes with some free software which can listen for a keyword, much like Siri or Cortana or Google Now does, and then take what you say and turn that into an actionable piece of text where it can, search for the weather in your location or launch an application or turn the lights on and off if you've got that kind of hardware, that kind of stuff. Once that matures a bit, it would be great to get that integrated into the desktop, both Unity on the desktop and Unity on the phone as well. That would be pretty awesome. So yeah, have a look at Mycroft. You can grab the code from GitHub. It's actually surprisingly easy to run on your desktop. So you can actually run it on your desktop right now. If you grab the code from GitHub, there's a few scripts in the directory. I found running it on 1604 was completely painless. There's like a script that you run to go and get all the build dependencies. Then there's another script you run which builds Mycroft, and then there's a third script you run which actually launches it, and it launches all the daemons in the background. And as soon as you've launched it, there's a little bit of config you have to do to get an API key. But once you've done that, you can talk to your computer and you can ask it the weather and all that kind of stuff. And because it's open source, free software, you can extend it and you can add capabilities to it and allow it to do things like make phone calls or maximize Windows on your desktop or whatever is programmatically possible on your computer. That would be awesome. So yes, the short answer is we're not working on it, but Mycroft are, and it's awesome. Next question from KZ650 needs to be an easier way to say that IRC nickname. Question, Popey, are you using ZFS or ZFS for the Americans on your home server? No, I'm using ButterFS. I installed it before it was easy to install ZFS on Ubuntu, and I quite like ButterFS. I installed it a few years ago, actually. If you Google or use your favorite search engine, my nickname Popey and fun with ButterFS or something like that, adventures with ButterFS. I wrote a blog post about it, about how I set it up, and it was pretty straightforward. I quite enjoy using ButterFS. I think people who complain about the stability of ButterFS may be basing their information on old data. I had a power cut yesterday and I've not had any data loss. So, it does survive error scenarios more than some people might lead you to believe. I might switch to ZFS because everyone says it's the new hotness and I love the new hotness. So I may switch at some point. But it's just one of those things I don't really need to do because it works at the moment. Why would I change it? Next question from Chloe. When Unity 8 is default, will we see Ubuntu computers in PC world and people will have to search specifically for Windows computers? Yes, totally. We're going to take over the world and there will be no other operating system. Or, back in reality, what will probably happen is much the same as it is right now, in that a small number of companies will manufacture computers that have Ubuntu pre-installed, and then slowly we get more and more market share. I think that's probably more likely in the short term. I can't predict any further away than that. Next question. Lars asks, do you know how the printer support is coming along? I assume that means on the phone. I think last time I spoke to Will Cook from the desktop team, he said that most of it was been done. There's some elements of packaging and landing those bits on the phone. I just don't think it's super high priority right now. I know some people would really love to have printer support on the phone. It's just not been a high priority recently, but I know much of the work has been done and it's been proved that it can be made to work. It's just not top of the list right now. Stephen B asks, is there any aspiration to offer desktop SMS notifications from a connected Ubuntu phone, e.g. KDE Connect? That sounds interesting. I don't know that anyone's working on that kind of thing for Ubuntu phone. It does sound quite cool. It'd be nice to have some kind of synchronization between the desktop and the phone. Yep, totally. I don't know of anyone working on anything like that, though. Chloe asks, after the Steam summer sale, do you have any money? Do you still have any money? I mean, so the Steam summer sale kind of passed me by a little bit. I think I bought one game on the Steam summer sale. I play a lot of multiplayer games with my kids, and I saw a multiplayer game which I can't even remember the name of now. But I bought it because I thought it looked quite good to play in front of the TV with my kids. My brain has gone. I can't remember what it was, but I haven't played it yet. So no, I still have some money left because I didn't spend it all on the Steam summer sale. What's next? Chloe asks if there's any messaging framework updates. No, but you may have seen on Google Plus and other places some photos that have been shared of Meizu devices at what I think is a trade show in the Far East. And I don't know if you noticed, but the text that went along with it was something along the lines of demonstrating the RCS framework or something. And as I understand it, there's a set of standards in China which phone companies are implementing on their devices, on their platforms, to allow phones to communicate via text, voice, and video over a certain set of protocols that are well defined and standardized across the platform, so that you'd be able to send like textual messages and an emoji, of course, video and voice from Android to Ubuntu to iPhone to whatever. And so I think there's some work being done there for the messaging framework, because if you look very closely, you'll see it looks a little bit different to the messaging app that we currently have on the phone. So I think there's some prototyping work going on there. So yeah, it is moving forward. We can probably say, just based on a couple of grainy photos from the Far East. What's the next question? Sandira asks, HUD? Question mark. We answered that earlier on, so rewind and you'll find that. Chloe asks, Snap on Windows 10 for Ubuntu, since we have Ubuntu for Windows. That's mind-blowing. Snaps on Windows 10. Oh, I see. So now we have Bash on Windows, where you can run Ubuntu on a Windows 10 machine. If you've opted into the, give me all the latest crack option in Windows 10. Yeah, that would be interesting, being able to install snaps on Windows. I don't have a Windows 10 machine that I've got that kind of nonsense on. I only use Windows for games, so I don't know. Someone else would have to answer that.
So, Poppy, I think before we go through next questions, we might want to take the opportunity now that Mario has joined us.
Oh, hello.
I think he's willing to show some cool updates on UV ports.
Woo.
Hi.
Hello.
Hey, Mario.
I know Popey knows some of it. I sent him a photo. But I will use the Fairphone as demonstration. But essentially, the OnePlus have the same updates. But the biggest one is, and that's also working on.
You broke up a little bit there. I think I saw a blurry phone come towards the screen and then move away. And
At the
didn't know
crucial
what you said.
moment, yes. If you could
Crucial
repeat
moment.
that.
Bluetooth.
Bluetooth, yes. As you can see, it's connected to a keyboard, or at least detecting a keyboard. And also the same is happening on the OnePlus One. And also, you can now call with the phone. Voice call is working. Headphone switching is working on both Fairphone and OnePlus One. The Fairphone have Wi-Fi, and I have no SIM card in it now, but as you can see,
Yeah.
there is Wi-Fi, and you can also see the icons at the top here. And also, most of the screen issues is fixed on it. The only thing that is missing is the power button. Is still a problem with that. But the graphic is working pretty well. It's no lag as it was before. It's pretty much squashed out most of the bugs. And the only thing left that I need to have on the OnePlus One before that's a fully working device, it's GPS and camera. After that, it's a fully working device. And also, this device that is on charging, it's a Nexus 5. It's not on at the moment, but that's now a fully working device. Everything is working on it.
Really? On the Nexus 5?
Yes.
Wow. That'll make a lot of people happy.
Yes. The only thing that might complain about it is the battery life isn't that great on the Nexus 5. But on both, Fairphone has some issues with the screen, but if you turn off the screen, that's pretty good in battery, and OnePlus One has amazing battery. So
when are these things going to land on UB ports so that someone can just get a phone and flash it? And I'm asking personally because I have a OnePlus One, obviously.
I'm taking a little bit different than I have done before. I now have one channel where I push my updates before I push it to the other ones. This is just for testing. So I will be pushing. There are up there now, but some updates that I fixed today is not up yet. But most of them are up there on devil underscore rc dash proposed on our servers. But the OnePlus One is really unstable at the moment, and so is Fairphone. They're running latest 5.1, and there is still some bugs that need to be squished. But the Nexus 5 actually works pretty great. I was using it as a daily driver actually. So the Nexus 5 is perfect.
Excellent. That's great news.
And the reason for all this is because I have had vacation of work. So I have been working 100% on UBports, and it's also a shameless plug, Patreon. So yeah, that's the biggest news, and also there is 2 new devices that are now booting. Is this is running recovery now? It's a Nexus 9. It's just booting. It's not graphic yet. Just booting. And also a Nexus 7.
What's that? Oh, the Motorola, the newer Nexus. Ah, okay.
Not the Nexus 6P, but the Nexus. Not Nexus 7. No, Nexus 6. Yeah, a Nexus 6.
Right.
Yeah.
Wow.
Excellent. Oh wow.
So
that's brilliant.
Yeah, I was supposed to release a post on G Plus this week, but it come out a bit early, I guess. So
Awesome.
yeah,
Thank you very much. I look forward to flashing that on my OnePlus One and having another play. That's awesome. Thank you, Marius.
yes, and it's not SID proof yet.
Okay. So we'll put a link in the description below. You mentioned your Patreon. We'll put a link in the description below this video so people can click on that.
That's awesome. Thanks.
No worries. Right, should we get back to the questions?
Yay.
Awesome.
Thanks, Marius.
Where were we? Sandira says, I posted a Reddit post in the comments of another flight sim, yes, about a flight sim app. Yes, I was mobile at the time when I saw this. So I asked in the video that I did, Let's Play Snapcraft, I asked for people to leave comments and suggestions for apps or games that might be interesting to create snaps. And Sandira left a comment. I haven't looked deeply at it yet because I was on mobile and I just clicked through, and it was all really tiny on my phone. So I haven't looked at it yet, but I will. Next question. So let's jump to Simon Q2, who asks, what is going on with Ubuntu dropping i386 support? Well, I guess what is going on is the thread that you've seen online where it's being discussed. I think we've talked about dropping i386 support a couple of times in the past, and it's now getting to that point where i386 machines are quite old. I think if you're interested in discussing this, then I would discuss it on the mailing list. I think it's on Ubuntu Devel or Ubuntu Devel Discuss as a discussion about, whether we're going to continue to maintain i386 ISO images and packages and so on in the future. So the next question, also from Simon Q2, is what's your favorite snap in the playpen? Ooh. I could choose my own one, but actually I'm not going to choose. I'm going to choose one that's actually not in the playpen. I'm going to choose the Nextcloud one. And the reason I want to choose the Nextcloud one is because it is a really comprehensive snap. It's got so much in it, and you can learn so much about Snapcraft from just reading that YAML file. So it's got, multiple benefits. There's Nextcloud, so yay, we've got Nextcloud as a snap, and then also you can learn a lot from the Snapcraft YAML. So, everybody is a winner with that snap. Do you have a favorite, David?
Oh yeah, I'm gonna pick even two. So I'd say Atom from Chris Wayne, as it's. It's got the only limitation that I found was with theming, which is something that's being worked on right now. As in, we're working on some generic launchers for desktop apps that sort out any theming issues that we might have at the moment. But other than that, as far as I could tell from my usage, is fully functional. It's a co-editor that I use actually to write my Snapcraft.yaml files. And yeah, it's been great to have it there from quite early on. And then the other one, which I was really excited about, was Blender. Again, a snap that works just as well as the dep package on the archive, but it's a newer version, and it can be shipped with Snap at any time. Which is a good example of us decoupling apps from the platform itself or from the OS.
Sweet. Okay, we're running low on time, so we'll pick a couple of questions. Another one from Simon Q2. What do you like about Unity 8? So I will give you one. I like the fact that it's QML, and I like the fact that you can hack on the QML quite easily. and other people can hack on the QML and patch it fairly easily in order to tweak the UI to do different things. I like the fact that I don't have to, for example, download all the C++ source code and rebuild it in order to make a tiny change to something here or there. The fact that it's QML, I can cowboy ninja edit a QML file somewhere on my file system and make the dash or whatever change pretty much instantly. And I quite like being able to hack on things. That's good. Let's find another interesting question. Probably the last one, I would think. One from Simon. What email client and browser do you use? Go on then, David, you first.
All right, okay. So I'm using Firefox, even though today, as an exception, I'm using Chromium, just because of the fact that I had it open. And email client, Deco, of course, which you can use on your desktop. However, I don't always use, being quite honest, I don't always use an email client. I use quite often Gmail straight from the browser.
Yeah. So on my laptop, I use Chrome, and on my phone, I use obviously the Ubuntu web browser. Email clients on the desktop, I just use a browser, and on my phone, I use Deco. There's your answer.
Cool.
Wow, that was a load of questions in an hour. So thank you very much, everyone, for all your questions. And thank you for the update from Marius. I look forward to trying out his awesome work on my 1+1 very soon. If you want to follow up with the next one of these videos, I would recommend you subscribe to the Ubuntu On Air YouTube channel. Also, you can follow us on Twitter and on Google+, and you'll get notification when the next one of these starts. But they're usually every Tuesday at 1500 UTC. Anything else I need to mention?
No, I think that's all. I saw a nice mention from Mr. Q on IRC. He's writing the summary of the Q&A for Ubuntu Fun. That's ubuntufun.de, a very, very popular Ubuntu related news site in German.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Mr. Q. And we'll see you all. Well, I won't see you next week. Or the week after, because we'll be in Heidelberg, won't we? Maybe we could do a Q&A from Heidelberg.
Yes. So actually, that's something that we should discuss, and yeah, we can just drop it in here. But yeah, it would be really good for us to organize a Q&A or an open session for Snap and Snappy input, essentially. So yeah.
Sweet. Okay. Thanks everyone for watching, and thank you all for your super questions. See you all next time. Bye-bye.
Thanks, everyone. Bye-bye.